is the Hog Trifecta deck. The Hog Rider is fast, it hits hard, and it's tanky enough to keep pressure on. You also unlock Zap here, and trust me, it's a must-have. Zap not only resets Inferno Tower, but also zaps away swarms like skeletons or spear goblins in an instant. Use Valkyrie to clear out bigger swarms, and save your Musketeer mainly for defense. Cycle back to your Hog with cheap cards like skeletons and Zap. For buildings, Cannon is the go-to, but Bomb Tower or Inferno Tower also work fine. And when you pair Cannon with Mini P.E.K.K.A., you can pretty much shut down any push your opponent throws at you. The best deck for Arena 6, hands down, is the Hog Rider Goblin Barrel deck. Having 2 win conditions here is just unfair. You'll constantly keep your opponent guessing. The trick is to bait out their small spells with cards like Fire Spirit or Skeleton Army, then send in your Goblin Barrel for free damage. You can even stack pressure by pushing with Hog Rider and Goblin Barrel at the same time. It's tough for anyone to defend both. Always keep your Zap ready for Skeleton Army, since it's everywhere in this arena. Don't let a P.E.K.K.A. scare you. Your Inferno Tower will melt it. If they zap your Inferno, just drop the Skeleton Army on top and watch them run out of answers. The best deck for Arena 7 is the classic Night Hog Rider cycle. This deck can shut down almost any offensive push your opponent throws at you. Use your Musketeer and Cannon together for defense, and let your Knight tank for both, so they stay alive longer. Just make sure to space out your Musketeer and Cannon, so you're not handing your opponent free spell value. Fireball is another must-have card here. It wipes out Royal Hogs and 3 Musketeers, and it also helps your Hog sneak in tower damage. Always keep Zap ready for swarms trying to block your Hog Rider. And if you've unlocked evolutions by now, definitely try out Musketeer or Knight Evo to give this deck an even bigger boost. As the best deck for Arena 8, we have the classic 2.6 Hog cycle with Vines. The Vines spell is really broken and makes this deck even stronger. Use Vines on defense to immobilize enemy troops while your Musketeer and Cannon take them out. Make sure to space them out so you're not giving away easy spell value. You can also use Ice Golem to kite big threats like P.E.K.K.A. into the opposite lane while your Musketeer and Cannon clean them up. Additionally, use the Ice Golem to tank for your Hog Rider so the Hog can reach the tower without getting countered. Fireball is usually the better choice over Lightning since it keeps your cycle fast, but if Lightning feels more comfortable for you, that works too. The best deck for Arena 9 is this Goblin Giant Double Prince deck. It's cheap, it's aggressive, and it can overwhelm opponents fast. Dropping both your princes behind the Goblin Giant is brutal. Their charge damage wipes out almost any troop that tries to block. Add in cheap support cards like Spear Goblins, Bats, and Goblin Gang, and suddenly your opponent has to waste Elixir just to stop the chip damage. Meanwhile, you've still got Fireball and Zap to clear out swarms or handle annoying cards like Musketeer and Wizard. The best deck for Arena 10 has to be Royal Recruits Piggies. Let's be real, this is probably the most no-skill deck in Clash Royale history. Just split your recruits, split your Royal Hogs, drop a flying machine in the middle to snipe whatever they place, and fireball or arrows down their defense. Boom! Easy win! Breaking through this deck is nearly impossible with all the defense you've got. Recruits, Goblin Cage, Zappies, plus 3 solid spells. Seriously, how's your opponent even supposed to push through all that? As the best deck for Arena 11, we have the Mega Knight Double Barrel Bait deck. Mega Knight is one of the most feared cards in mid-ladder, and honestly, for good reason. He smashes everything on spawn, hops from target to target with bonus splash, and has a ridiculous amount of HP. On his own, he's annoying, but when you pair him with double barrels, the pressure gets insane. The idea is simple. Use cards like Goblin Gang, Dart Goblin, and Bats to bait out your opponent's spells, then punish with Goblin Barrel and Skeleton Barrel. For defense, Goblin Cage does the job, and the Brawler even doubles as a tank for your barrels when you go on offense. The best deck for Arena 12 is the P.E.K.K.A. Bridge Spam deck. This one counters a ton of the popular decks you'll see around here. It's cheap, it's fast, and it wins by overwhelming your opponent with a P.E.K.K.A. plus Ram Rider push. Add in the Vine spell, and that combo can end games instantly. On defense, Baby Dragon and minions have your back, but the real MVP is the Berserker. For just 2 elixir, she's insanely versatile, cleaning up multiple ground troops and then switching right into offense to keep up the pressure. If you want easy wins, just play this deck aggressively and force your opponent on the back foot. The best deck for Arena 13 is 3.0 Expo Cycle. Expo has been one of the strongest decks of all time in Clash Royale. The whole game plan is simple. Protect your Expo as much as possible, then finish things off with Firebolt Cycle in the late game. Tesla is absolutely irreplaceable here, since it's the only 2x2 building in Clash Royale. You can place it just in front of the Expo, and it defends perfectly. Knight and Archers also give you super solid support on defense. Against beatdown decks, don't be afraid to drop your Expo defensively, but always make sure you're spacing your troops properly. Log and Electro Spirit clear swarms easily, and once double or triple elixir hits, you'll just keep cycling fireballs until the tower finally falls. As the best deck for Arena 14, we have Classic Logbait with Inferno Tower, an all-time favorite for pros, and a deck you can keep using well into higher arenas. The key is simple. Cycle to your Goblin Barrel as fast as possible, while sneaking in Princess shots at the bridge whenever you can. Inferno Tower is your safety net against Mega Knight, Hog Rider, P.E.K.K.A. and Electro Giant, which you'll see a lot in this arena. And don't forget, Rocket isn't just for defense. You can use it offensively too whenever you're getting good value. If you've got Goblin Barrel Evolution unlocked, try splitting damage across both lanes to pressure and confuse your opponent. As the best deck for Arena 15, we have the Mega Knight Prince deck. This one is super aggressive, so you'll want to apply early pressure with split wall breakers to gain positive elixir trades. Once double elixir hits, stack up a massive Mega Knight plus Prince push, which is insanely hard to stop. Meanwhile, you can drop your Bandit in the opposite lane to force even more pressure. Firecracker is clutch here, working both as a defensive tool and as chip damage across the bridge. Bats give you cheap and effective defense, and here's a pro tip. If you can predict their swarms with zap or arrows, you'll basically win the game on the spot. The best deck for Arena 16 is Minor Balloon Cycle. This is easily one of the highest skill decks in Clash Royale. With this deck, it's all about smart plays and solid predictions. The idea is simple. Figure out what your opponent is using to stop your balloon, then predict it with a Miner, an evolved Musketeer, or even a well-timed Snowball. On defense, Bomb Tower and Musketeer give you a really solid backbone. Winning with this deck isn't easy if you're just reacting, but once you start making those big predictions, you will feel unstoppable. The best deck for Arena 17 is Hog Rider Earthquake. This one runs Valkyrie as your mini tank, which is perfect since Elixir Golem and bait decks are everywhere here. If you have the Mighty Miner, you can use him in place of the Valkyrie as well. The Valkyrie is useful because she cleans swarms easily and can even tank for your Hog. Firecracker is the most important card of this deck. She's insanely annoying in this arena because most players don't run arrows and struggle to deal with her properly. Pair her with Tesla and Ice Spirit, and you can shut down pretty much any push. Since this deck is cheap, your goal is to cycle back to your Hog as quickly as possible, always keeping Earthquake ready to instantly punish buildings. The best deck for Arena 18 is Royal Hog's Earthquake Cycle. This deck is widely considered the best in the entire game, and it's been relevant for over 3 years now. The defense is absolutely cracked. The Archer Queen is your main card in this deck. With her ability, she can basically shut down an entire push on her own. Cannon and Royal Delivery also give you super reliable defense, and they only cost 3 elixir each. Always keep Earthquake ready to punish buildings, and once you hit double or triple elixir, take advantage of the Archer Queen's 3-card cycle. You'll be spamming Royal Hogs and Earthquake so fast that your opponent literally won't be able to keep up. The best deck for Arena 19 is Giant Graveyard, and honestly, this combo is a nightmare to defend. You've got a dual win condition here. The Giant soaks up tons of damage while tanking for the Graveyard, and trying to stop both at the same time is nearly impossible. Swarms are basically the only real counter, and that's where your arrows and Snowball come in to wipe them out instantly. Like, what's the opponent even supposed to do? On defense, Witch and Bowler give you insane value, while minions provide a cheap way to handle air units. And for those mini tanks with high damage, like Prince or Mini P.E.K.K.A., Guards are incredible. They can shut them down with ease for a positive elixir trade.
تجربة تداول
All costs. Let's say you deploy the princess at the bridge in the same lane as your weak tower. Your opponent uses a knight to defend. Now, he has a mini tank in the same lane as your weak tower and can build a counterattack. This can be tough for you to defend as you're already down 3 elixir. The second reason is that with lockbait decks, you need to split up your damage mostly. This way, you can really confuse your opponent when you use your Evolved Goblin Barrel later on and get a lot of damage. While this tip is helpful, it can become useless if you don't take tip number 5 into account. I'll get to that in a minute, but first, let me tell you a tip that seems simple, but almost no one follows it. Make sure that you know your ideal way to win a particular match. Against some decks, it might be impossible to break through with a Goblin Barrel. Maybe your opponent is running triple spells or something. In those matches, you should focus more on defense and then use rockets in double and triple elixir to spell cycle your way to victory. Try to also get some sneaky princess damage whenever you can. While getting damage from the Goblin Barrel can be difficult against certain matchups, the next tip can actually increase your chances of getting damage. Always switch up your Goblin Barrel placements depending on their counters. Recognize early on what your opponent's best counters to your Goblin Barrel are. If they are using a Bob Barrel, try to deploy your barrels to the sides of the tower every now and then. If they're using a log, deploying your Goblin Barrel way in the back can be a good choice. Similarly, if they have a splash damage dealing card for your barrel, then always use the classic placement. But you see, your Goblin Barrels will only get damage if you don't get into negative elixir trades. So, let me tell you a tip to avoid getting into such trades. Never deploy your princess and goblin gang together. This may sound simple, but to this day, a ridiculous number of players still make this mistake. If your opponent has a small spell, you're giving them a huge positive trade. Imagine your opponent using a log on your princess plus goblin gang. 2 elixir for 6. That's a negative 4 elixir trade for you. So don't make this dumb play ever unless you're sure that there's no way your opponent can extract a positive trade out of it. Never princess at the bridge if you don't have cheap responses to what your opponent will use to counter her. You need to figure out what your opponent is using to counter your princess. If it's something that can lead you into a negative elixir trade, then avoid using your princess at the bridge for the most part. For example, let's say you deploy your princess. Your opponent uses a Ram Rider to counter her. Now, if you don't have a cheap response like Cannon, you're mostly cooked, because now you have to overspend to defend the Ram Rider. If you waste more than 3 elixir to defend her, you're putting yourself in a big negative elixir trade. So, in order to win, you only need to do 2 things. First is to avoid bad elixir trades, and second is to hit that